Hello everyone, this is Victoria Hunt, and I will be discussing the effects of nutrition education for middle school students. So just a little background. With the recent rise in obesity levels in the United States, it is so important to look at early prevention for younger populations. Currently, there are 13.7 million overweight adolescent and children in the U.S. That's equal to about one-third of the country's children and adolescent population. Obesity, though, is not the only problem. It can lead to other chronic diseases such as hypertension, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and certain cancers. If not corrected, this issue just continues into adulthood and is in a poor quality of life. The idea here is to help the population that is vulnerable in order to give them a high quality of life. Some of the reasons for such high levels of obesity include low physical activity levels, consumption of poor quality foods, and misinformation about food. So, this study will look at an 8-week nutrition education program and how it can improve nutritional knowledge amongst middle school students. Right now, adolescents are coming into independence and freedom and figuring out the world. A lot of their food choices are based on convenience, cost, and peer pressure. Now it makes sense. Peer pressure is a huge influence in a middle school student's life. Cost, middle school students typically don't have jobs. A lot of times they're going down after school to the local 7-Eleven or the convenience store down the road and picking up a high-calorie snack and a soda or a high-calorie beverage without even realizing what they're putting into their bodies. A lot of the meals as well are snacks, fast food, or skipped altogether. So this population is clearly a population that is struggling with their nutrition, and this is where a lot of the obesity levels can increase. So it is important that these kids have a foundation of nutrition in order to make educated decisions about food in the future. The research question here will be whether or not an 8-week nutrition education curriculum in public schools can increase middle school students' overall nutritional knowledge. The hypothesis then is that middle school students' nutritional knowledge will increase after the completion of the course. From here, the end game is that on top of having more nutritional knowledge, these students are then putting their knowledge to good use, and they're making informed decisions when they're out picking up a snack or at home, and it doesn't just stay within the school where they make decisions, but that they're using it in life. So there's been a lot of studies that have been done, particularly there's been one in Rhode Island actually that was a part of it was called the Mark, Set, Go curriculum that these teachers had created, and peer educators had actually given the intervention. So it was high school students came down and gave a cute course to elementary school students. Educators such as phys ed teachers, health teachers have offered this intervention, and nutrition specialists. So a lot of studies have been done where the intervention has been performed by assortments of people. The intervention methods have also been varied. Some are online curriculums, while others include classes meeting for a specific time frame. And then a lot of the studies are focused on elementary school students. However, there's a real need to continue this education for the adolescent population that's seeking independence. One of the things I've noticed is that a lot of different programs have been used. For example, like I said, the Mark, Set, Go program. There's been a Healthy Teens program. For this, the national standards used are Shape America, and that will be the curriculum that is presented to these students because it is the national standard, just to keep things level. Participants in this study will be 11 to 13-year-old middle school students from a public school in southeastern Massachusetts. In order for their surveys to count, students must be present on both the pre- and post-test days. This sample size will be from a G-Power. The G-Power recommended sample size is small, is only 57, because we are only using one group. There will be no control group. However, 100 letters will be sent home and emailed to ensure the correct number of responses. Sometimes papers get lost in translation going from school to home. Parents don't see it in time for the study to start, or the paper gets lost coming back to school. So in order to make sure that something like this doesn't occur and we don't have enough people, they'll be sent out in surplus. Because this is a vulnerable population, parental consent must be received. All information will be disclosed to parents and students about what the curriculum will entail and the pre- and post-test quizzes. And There is no more than a minimal risk for these students, so the IRB should be okay with this continuing on. Again, students will not receive anything for participating or for not participating, meaning students' overall class grade will not be affected. Responses will be anonymous and will be done on a computer. So these pre and post tests do not count towards a student's grade. These are just for informational purposes only. Once a student completes the questionnaire, it gets sent to me, the answers are generated, and that will be it. There's nothing, the students do not need to log in. It would just be a basic program. Some of the topics that will be covered in the 8-week nutrition course will be ways of properly reading nutrition labels, the case between processed and unprocessed foods, preventing chronic diseases, preparing healthy meals, and decision-making and peer pressure. Classes will be a variety of methods to be engaging all learners, making sure they're all being targeted. So there'll be hands-on, there'll be lectures, there'll be videos, there'll be an online portion, so that there will be a variety of methods for students to ensure that they are all targeted. The pre and post intervention quiz questionnaire will be done on a computer, and these classes will meet 8 weeks for twice a week, 45 minutes a day. A lot of the previous studies have shown that this is the general time frame for the health classes to last, which is essentially, it ends up being one term of the whole year. The phys ed teacher will be teaching this Shape America curriculum, along with there'll be a little bit of an online portion for all classes, and this will be done in a regular classroom setting. The pre and post nutrition education quiz will look like this. Again, no name, completely anonymous. The first 10 questions are basic nutrition understanding, questions about what is protein, how many glasses of water, and the final 5 questions are basically questionnaires about food choice behaviors. So do you eat fruit for lunch? Do you ever eat vegetables for dinner? Things like that. To get a feel for their current food preferences and behaviors. The anticipated results are that, based on prior research, students' knowledge of nutrition will increase following nutrition classes. The ultimate goal is that with this proper knowledge, students will also change their food habits, which will be seen in the questionnaire. And then from there, we hope that they can then use that, translate it into a real-world scenario. These are my references, and that is it. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed that.